there, I'm Susan Beyer. This is Fun with Research. I'm glad you're with us today. We're going to be talking about Net Promoter Scores. It's a very common tool used in marketing and customer experience. We're going to dig into a little bit, see what it looks like, how it's calculated, and the implications it can have from a marketing perspective today. So Net Promoter Score is structured in a very specific way. The question is going to say, how likely are you to recommend this brand, this product, this company to friends and family or colleagues, sort of depending on what the audience looks like. And you're going to see a scale from 0 to 10, where 0 is not at all likely and 10 is extremely likely. It's as simple as that. It's a single question. And then when you get the results, you need to group them based on the ratings. This is how Net Promoter Score gets calculated. Sometimes you'll just see the number that is your Net Promoter Score, but I want you to know what's going on behind the scenes. So as you can see here, those who have scored a 9 or a 10, in other words, are very likely to recommend you, are called promoters. If they scored a 7 or an 8, they're considered passives. These folks are probably very satisfied with their experience with you, but aren't racing around talking about you and might be more susceptible to competitive offers from other companies. And then 0 to 6 is considered detractors. These are folks who, if they say something about your company, it might not be very nice. Their experience has not been as good. So you've got three groups: promoters who are avid fans and really excited to talk about you with other people; passives who are probably perfectly satisfied but aren't going to go around recommending you; and then detractors who may say something unkind about your company and damage your word of mouth. So what you do is you take the percentages of people that are 9s or 10s and add them up, and that's your promoter percentage. Now, I want to show you, this is real Net Promoter Score data from a study we did. You can see across the top we've got different segments in their audience. And I want you to look at segment 5. You could see that their Net Promoter Score is substantially lower than the other brands. The company overall has a 50 Net Promoter Score, which is right in the middle of what you can get as a positive score. Because technically you can get a negative 100 Net Promoter Score if everybody's a detractor, and you can get a positive 100 if everyone's a promoter, but most people are somewhat in between. So this company overall is a 50, but they're much lower for segment 5, and I want you to look at why. If you focus on that middle bar there, the one in yellow for segment 5, you'll see that 33% of their respondents came in as passives. Now, satisfied, but not necessarily talking and saying great things about the company, not necessarily going out of their way to tell other people about you. Why is this important? This is important because Net Promoter Score is calculated by taking the percentage of promoters that you have, subtracting the percentage of detractors that you have, and leaving the passives out of the calculation. Okay, and this is what people don't always understand about Net Promoter Score. It is really a measure of potential word of mouth. And passives, while they're happy, are not particularly likely to be talking about you. So they're removed from this calculation. And what you've got is the percentage of people who are saying amazing things about you every chance they get, minus the percentage of people who are talking about you and maybe not in a positive way. That's how you calculate Net Promoter Score. And you can see the impact for segment 5 of having 33%, a third of the people in that segment, being passive. And that's how that Net Promoter Score got as low as it did. That yes, they do have fewer promoters and slightly more detractors, but a big group of people, a third of those folks who are sort of not present in that calculation at all, are the problem. And this is why I find Net Promoter Score so helpful, because it shows you not just a number, but it shows you what you can do to improve your word of mouth. Ideally, what you want is everybody in the promoter bar, and that's not going to happen for any company. But in the absence of getting everybody to be a promoter, what you do want to do is move as many people into promoters from passives as you can, and there are a number of ways to do that. If they're happy with their experience, but they're not talking about you. Maybe it isn't easy for them to do so. Maybe you're not making it easy for them to say great things about you. Maybe they don't know what to say. Maybe they don't know where you hang your hat in terms of the kind of services that you offer or whatever. So they just don't talk about you because they don't exactly know how to talk about you or who to talk about you to. This is especially prevalent, I find, among small businesses offering like consulting services. They don't really know how you describe yourself or the services you offer. It makes it harder for them to talk about you. If you're an organization that can promote, tell a friend, or you have content coming from users, user-generated content, testimonials, that's all good for helping people talk about you and becoming more likely to be in that promoter column. And if you get your promoters up, your Net Promoter Score goes up, as long as you're not also getting your detractors up. And that's the other thing. Detractors are dinging your score. So from a customer service standpoint, you need to at least get them to the point where they're happy and not saying anything, which is better than them being unhappy and saying something. So it's important to sort of understand the components of Net Promoter Score and where you as a marketer can put things in place that will help improve it. The other thing that this chart shows is how different Net Promoter Score can be between different groups of people in your audience. And people don't always look at this. They sort of often view Net Promoter Score as a single number for their entire audience, their whole customer base, when in fact we see large variations in Net Promoter Score between different segments. Sometimes it's based on dissatisfaction and just the company not being a great fit for them, or the products or services not being a great fit for them. Sometimes it's that they're just not talkers. They're just not likely to share their experience with companies, good or bad, with anyone. But I think it's important to understand how Net Promoter Score can vary between your audiences so that you understand where are your best opportunities to get people talking. And don't mistake what I'm saying to suggest that Net Promoter Score is the be-all and end-all. A lot of companies use it. It can be a helpful tool, but getting your Net Promoter Score up is about more than the number. It's about making the most of your word-of-mouth opportunities. That is where marketing is today. Word of mouth is incredibly powerful regardless of platform. It's how a lot of people are making decisions. And I think Net Promoter Score is a very helpful way to look at what's likely going on with your word of mouth and how to improve it. Improve the sharing, improve the experience of your customers, and improve their ability to share the story that you are telling about what you do and why you do it. I hope you found this helpful. We're on every Friday with a new video. You can check us out at funwithresearch.com for more resources, and we'll see you next week. Thanks very much.